This is McCook's Mr. Bill. It's an honor to have you here. This last weekend, I had two conversations with two different people that might interest you. One had his own plane, and he had, for his life, he had been spraying fields, be it herbicides, pesticides, whatever chemical might be needed to be sprayed on that cropland. With that in mind, though, he spoke about that he also, on the side, whenever there would be a prairie fire out here or any kind of fire, he'd call in, see if they need help. And he'd come in, land, and he would load water with fire retardant on it. His plane could hold 270 gallons of water. 270 gallons. And he said any fire, short of a high wind day, he could come in and spray that area and spray it. And he said, you know, a 40-acre wide field on fire, he said a couple of passes, and he said that fire is out if he's there. He said he can put it out. And he said, and even the bigger fires, he said, I can make such a dent in it that the ground fire control people, they can come in and clean up, have a lot easier time of it, especially in canyons and things like that. That's real hard to get the fire trucks and the hoses out and everything like that, and you have to risk men's lives more. He said that plane can do the job. And he said a big fire, he said numerous planes will come in and do just that very thing. They're not trained for it, but he said they spray fields all the time, so they know their plane up one side and down the other, and they know its ability in spraying. And they're not government people. These are private people that come in to do that type of thing. In our conversation, of course, it turned to the fires out there in Estes Park, or near Estes Park, and also out in California. And he said, I don't get it. He said they make one call, and he said, I bet they could have hundreds, maybe 1,000 pilots with spray planes that could come in and fight that fire, and preferably fight it when it's yet still small, less than 100 acres, you know, so that they could hit it hard and save high winds. He said we could come in and just nail that thing without any problem at all, kill it before it even gets started. I spoke to a military pilot that flies a bomber for a living. Okay. And he told that the United States has 3,600 planes, give or take, in their military arsenal to fight enemies. 3,600. And when we talked about the fires, he said it would be nothing for them to take a couple of hundred planes, and refit them to fight fires. Fires are nothing new. Out in California, it's almost a yearly thing. He said, get those planes out there and fight the fire when it's yet small. And he said, those planes will do the job that needs to be done. Absolutely. He said, you get them tankers up there. And he said, not just one or two or a few dozen. He said, hundreds will get the job done with a good ground control. Absolutely. And in visiting with him, I said, okay, the government isn't stupid, and neither is the military. Why don't they do that? And he said regulations, and they forbid them from doing it. And he said the companies and agencies that are in control of fires, he said that they get, for example, $100 million a year, what have you, to fight given fires. He said if we could put them out real quick, he said, and if other agencies got a piece of the action, then he said they wouldn't like that. And they want to increase. They want more fires, not less, and they want bigger fires. So the public will say, we've got to spend more money with that agency. He said, that's what it's all about. And he said, plus we have one other enemy. And I said, who is that? And he said, well, it's the Democrats. He said they're pushing global warming because they see that as a cash cow to be able to tax the American people a lot more, maybe $1 trillion more a year to fight global warming. And he said, so if they can get the fire so bad the smoke goes over the country, the people are going to live in fear, and they're going to say, yep, it's got to be global warming. And the news continually beats on you, saying it daily. He said, but rather than to fight global warming, he said all you have to do is fight the fires. He said there's no fires in Western Canada, is there? No. It's in Colorado and over there. And a share of those fires, though, a share of them were started by people, not by global warming of any kind. Fires are nothing new, but that's two people that said we have the ability, we have the weaponry right now that could fight and defeat fires before they even get going, and even those that get going, we can hammer them big time, and we have the assets right now that can do it if the government would allow it to happen.